Hello and welcome to Lamb Living. My name is Holly Lamb and today I joined the Thrift Flip Road Trip. And I come to you from sunny St. Simons Island, Georgia. And we are enjoying a beautiful summer, thinking about the fall when my daughter gets married. We're thinking about all the different decorations and things to prepare for that. So these are some pictures from the venue. And of course, here's our church. But a lot of the summer you'll find me in this one of my favorite spots. We are thrift flipping today in this video, and this is Hello Goodbye, one of our local thrift stores. On this day, the half off color was yellow, and so here I am looking through some of the half off section. I love tarnished silver, fun to flip. Lots of neat shapes and filigrees and designs in thrifted tarnished silver. This little picture was fun. I think I left that one there. And then the signs and the frames are always a great price here at Hello Goodbye. This one was $4. That did go home with me. As did this little white frame that was so sweet. But in today's video, I'm going to be flipping a large frame that I found for half off at Hello Goodbye. This big golden frame caught my eye, got it for $7. My daughter and I are keeping a lookout for all things golden, because that is the kind of the theme of the wedding, gold, and her colors are olive green since her wedding is in October. And so I'm going to flip this frame for a shower that we're giving her later on this month, but then it can also be used at the wedding. And so I'm going to go ahead and take out the little picture and mat here, and we're going to be painting on that and stamping. But everything, of course, gets cleaned after it comes home from the thrift store. And I did this one outside because with, nicely matted frames, you never know what gets in these mats. So I was ready for anything out there. And so now I'm going to start with my plaster colored Waverly chalk paint. And I'm going to paint the mat. That mottled blue was not quite what we're going for. The colors of the shower are lemony yellow, orange, and all citrus fruit colors, because the what I'm going to be stamping on this picture is she found her main squeeze. And so navy blue is definitely a base color, not black. So the blue on the mat, I'm going to keep. But, oh gosh, it's so hard for me to paint over that chinoiserie vase there. I really wanted to keep it, but not for this particular flip. I'm going to be doing something different down there. So I took my little nail file. If I got any of that chalk paint on the mat, the gold or the blue, I'm just taking my very fine nail file and just filing that right off. No problem. Get it nice and clean. That takes care of it easy peasy. Now, the two frames that I'm going to be using today, I'm going to be transforming them with two different forms of wax. On this frame, I'm keeping the gold color that came with it, except for in all the filigree, beautiful designs of the vines and flowers. I'm going to be filling that full of white wax by DIY Paint. Their white wax is one of my favorites. It's got a beautiful creamy texture, and I am filling that filigree full of white wax. And then I'm taking a baby wipe, and of course I wiped it back with a paper towel, but now I'm really going in and bringing out the gold in the pretty floral pattern that was in this frame. And so I'm going to set that aside and we're going to work on the picture. She found her main squeeze. I'm going to be using some IOD stamps, letterpress and typesetter and swoosh. We're going to use a mixture here. And I've used a few of these letters before, but I'm going to go ahead and prep it like you prep IOD stamps with a crosshatch of sanding with my Dollar Tree sanding block. Now I'm going to lay it out here and just get my spacing on these. This is the letterpress. I'm using the ones in the middle. It's kind of the bigger one. Now this is a thin mount. I've got a couple of these. I've got one, that one is full. That's how it comes. And then I've cut up some of the other ones to make smaller little thin mounts for smaller projects. But this one, it's so nice because it has that grid. And then there's, of course, straight grid lines. And then there's also some curved lines if you want to make something curved. You can line things up with that. It's just a wonderful tool, and they're very inexpensive. I get my IOD products from Cottle & Gun down in St. Mary's, Georgia. I'll put that link to Deborah's website down in the description box if you don't have a local IOD stockist. Now that's swoosh, and a swoosh is a cursive font, and I've seen some creators on YouTube use them in kind of a funny way. They line up where the swoosh goes, and it makes it real stretched out and kind of sideways. But I use my swoosh stamps to where they overlap so they're straight, like I would write in cursive on a piece of lined paper. And so I'll show you how I stamp that in just a minute. Now we're trying to decide how we're going to do squeeze. Hope wanted to do it with all capital letters, but it just wasn't going to fit. So we go with a capital S eventually, and then the lowercase. Now this is Fruitful Harvest. This is the fall stamp set that comes with 2 sheets of stamps, gorgeous pumpkins and leaves, but it also has a little bunch of round fruits. I think they're probably supposed to be apples, but we're going to paint them kind of an orangey gold and make them into oranges. And so I'm going to use that one for the little decoration at the bottom. So now I've taken my thin mount, and all IOD stamps have a sticky back. You don't have to put pixie spray or anything on the back. They stay sticky even after you wash them. Wash them off with water. I do have a pan of water there ready for them because I don't want my ink to dry on the stamps. And so I'm just stamping them down. I've got some blue ink there. I ordered that from Amazon, but you can get, good permanent ink in lots of different places. And I'm just inking them up and then wiping off anything that got on the thin mount off with a baby wipe. And then I'm going to use the grid lines. I'm taking off every other letter of the swoosh stamp. You see I've got the first and third letter there. And then I put the second and fourth letter of Maine on another thin mount. And so there's that one. I love that blue. Matches the matte there so well. I just love how that blue turns out. But I just love blue anyway. And so there I'm going to fix the A and the N. Oh, whoops, no, that's the her. That's the H and the E. Since we had used that in the first stamp, I have to clean it off with the baby wipe. Very easy, and remount it. And then here comes the second letters, and then see how they overlap, and it makes a perfect cursive word. Perfect. Nice on straight with the overlapping stamps. So I do every other letter whenever I do swoosh. Alrighty, so there's the Fruitful Harvest. There's those round fruits. They don't have any divots or anything, so they're very believable to be oranges, or maybe I'm just making myself believe that because I wanted oranges. I don't know. But they worked out fine. And then I went back and cleaned off my E and then re-stamped it there. I didn't need to clean it off. I just re-inked it there. Yep, got anything on the thin mount, wiped it off with a baby wipe. Don't want to get anything on there. Now, if I did get some ink somewhere where I didn't want it, I could either go back with some more paint. Oh, hope like that. She liked how it turned out. Yeah, I could go back with some of the paint. I could wait till it dried completely. I could take my little nail file and file off any ink that got astray when I'm stamping. There's lots of different ways to fix little flubs. Everything can be fixed with crafting, that's for sure. That's what we're doing here. We're flipping. All right, so I'm going to use this gold paint from the Dollar General, and I love this gold paint. This one has a little bit of an orange tinge to it, so it was perfect for this project to make these into oranges. And so I'm just going to paint. I've already top coated my stamps. I took them outside and put that matte clear Rust-Oleum. I love that, so easy. And look at that, how it just goes with that matte color of gold, but it's still, I think it makes it look like oranges. I don't know, maybe that's just me wanting them to be oranges, but I think they look like oranges. But there we go, she found her main squeeze. I've just got it laid on the dining room table here because it's so hard to film glass. And then my next frame in a little bit will be a mirror, and they are just so hard to film. So they're just laying on the table right now so you can see it. I just love how that frame looks with the white wax. All right, let's go to the bins, another one of my favorite spots. And I found these little guys. They're perfect to get at the bins. If you ever see these bigger tinsel wreaths and all the little shapes in tinsel, these are great to get because you take the tinsel off, which I don't know if I save this tinsel or not, but I use this stuff at school all the time. It looks great on bulletin boards. But you take that off, and then look at this cage. It's a 3D, nice, thick, sturdy cage. Love those. And they don't weigh much, so they are very cheap at the Goodwill bins because it's only 89 cents a pound. All right, so we're going to make a big flower wreath with this yellow burlap ribbon from Walmart. They stock this all the time in all kinds of colors, and it's a nice, thick, good ribbon. It does not have a wire, so it's great for this particular project where I want it to be very organic and leafy, or I guess petally. And so I'm just cutting arrows. They're about 10 inches long. And then I got a shipment, and it had some of these packing peanuts in it. And because burlap is so porous, I wanted to have something to hold on to and for the hot glue to hold on to for these petals. So these little packing peanuts did the trick. I like to use what I've got and reuse. That's part of flipping, right? And so there's my petal. And then we're going to talk a little bit about these little cuties that I use to adorn my petals. My daughter and I went to this little shop down at the pier here on St. Simon's called the Beach Bum, and they have shells of all sorts, and you can get shells of every kind, but we were looking for oysters because I'm going to be making place cards out of these oysters. So we got 2 big bags. They were $10 a bag, and I'm going to be using these kind of either too small or chipped oysters for this project, but I'm going to be putting, to cover up the color on the darkness on this, they all have the little dark spot. I'm going to be using Picket Fence by Fusion Paint, mineral paint, and I'm just going to cover that up. It's got a built-in top coat, and so it makes a great, it took 1 coat, covered up that little black spot, no problem. There we go. Just give them a coat. There they are with our little shells. And then I'm going to take this napkin that I picked up at Stripling's, a little general store here in Glenn County. And I'm going to make these little lemony jewels for our main squeeze theme. And I just love lemons anyway, so I love that for summer. Now these things, have you seen these in the Dollar Tree? They're the little travel containers with the little flip cap. They'd be great for toiletries, for travel. But I like to put my different paints and glues in. I've started using these, and I love these. I'm going to have to keep my eyes out for more of these. They have different color tops, but I got the blue ones. Those have worked well. You can see it sitting there on my desk while I was working one night on the computer. And so that is, I just took my nail file. I get these from Amazon. And I put a little bit more, filed off all the extra napkin after it dried. And then 1 more coat of Mod Podge, and those are ready. Now, I'm going to take my little packing peanut and I've got the tip of the arrow pointing down. It's the way it naturally wants to point because it was rolled up in that roll. And so that's going to make my little petal, the little tip of the petal is going to tip forward when I put it on the wreath. So then I just fold it over and fold it over, and the little legs or little fishtails there at the bottom, they're going to tuck under the cage. And that's what I'm going to hot glue to the cage. So there we go. And once they are able to come off the parchment paper, they're dry. All right, so here we go. I'm going to cover up the first layer of the cage. I'm putting 2 layers of these petals. Half of the petals I left the oyster shells off, and they're just plain little petals crisscrossed at the bottom. And then the other half have the oyster shells with the little lemon napkin on it for the front. So I'll do 2 rows, and I just wanted to go around and cover up and give the glue something to hold on to. So that's why I'm just covering up the cage. Of course, we don't want to see the cage, so that works dual purpose. We just need something for the hot glue to hold on to. Okay, so I'm putting it on this round, kind of the part of the cage that is raised, and so it will lay down onto the wall once I hang it up. And I'm just going to be using my scissors there to hold on to the hot glue until I can, manipulate it with my hand while it's still too hot. Just using my scissors there. And I'm just going to fold it under. And then I'll flip over the cage and secure it on the back. And I'll go all the way around until I have it completely filled with the petals. And remember, this doesn't have a wire in it, but it wants to hold up. I just love this burlap ribbon. It works really well for this type of thing. Great. So we almost have that finished. Now I'm also going to be covering the inside here, and I'm going to take, there we go. So that's how the middle petals are going to go, but I want to cover up the cage. So I'm going to fold it, not quite in half, but the fold line I'm going to cover up where the first row of petals is on the cage, that upper area, because the petals, you see, the little tails are going to tuck in under the inside, the innermost circle of the cage. And then I'm going to put down the hot glue to where it's going to lay down on top of that first row of petals, so that when I hang it up, gravity's not going to make them fall down. Now my goal here is lots of hot glue so it's secure, but I don't want to see any hot glue. That's the goal, is to hide hot glue. And of course, this kind of project, it's notorious to have, you see I've covered it didn't matter what the inner ring of burlap looked like. I just wanted it covered. All right, now while I was at the Beach Bum, I had to go to get one more bag of oyster shells for my place card project. So I had to go out about 20 minutes out near the interstate to the warehouse of Beach Bum, the shell warehouse, and wow, this place had shells, wow, more and more, all shapes and sizes. So I picked up a couple bags of just a multi-bags. They were $12 for this multi-bag of shells. It was great. And I got the bag of oysters that I needed, so now I'm all set for that project. But I'm going to, again, my goal is hiding hot glue. So on that innermost, right underneath those oyster shells, I'm going to cover up any hot glue or any ragged edges that might be showing with these tiny little striped shells, these round shells. I'm not sure what they're called, but they sure are pretty. And they tucked right in under, so they're kind of like just a little placeholders and filler. And I'm just going to keep going all the way around. And I'll flip it over and I'll, hot glue all the little tails so it's nice and tightly put together. So it's not going anywhere once I hang it up. There we go. So you can see that's the back side of our wreath. And here's the front side. Oh, I love how it looks hanging here on my pantry door in the kitchen with those little oyster shells looking so cute with their lemons on it. And just that little hint of extra coastal flare underneath, just a little bit of shells showing, natural shells. And it looks so gorgeous. I love that pop of yellow, it just makes me happy. Okay, Toby, you ready for our last flip? Let's do it. All right, now we're in a different thrift store. This is the Salvation Army thrift store here in Glenn County. And I sent a picture of this mirror to Hope, and she said, get it. And so here is a mirror. Hope bought this one at Sam's, and it's going to be the big one that we're going to, I don't even know what we're putting on this. This may be I'm not sure what this is going to be, but anyway, we'll work on that monster later. But I wanted to make this mirror match the big mirror that we've got stored in the garage that you saw. And so this is Rub and Buff, but I usually use the antique gold over there on the right. This is Gold Leaf. And this is the one that I had kind of laid out a bunch of gold paints and waxes. Rub and Buff is a wax that you rub on or paint on, and then you rub it back and wax it in, kind of like burnishing wax, like I was doing with the white wax before with the paper towel. And so you just rub it back, and I'm going to use a paintbrush to get it on and then rub it back with my finger. And you can see the original gold was beautiful, but it was very yellow. And so almost with a green, green edge to it. So this Gold Leaf Rub and Buff that I got at Hobby Lobby, it just did the trick. And I'll show you a comparison. Yep, paint it on and then rub it in. Did the sides, every bit. So here's the before. You can see that bright yellowy gold. And here is the Rub and Buff. Very close to that mirror that we're trying to match, that in my portrait. All right, now I'm not using stamps for this one. We're doing a welcome sign. Hope designed this on Canva. And we're going to be putting that on this mirror with the Crafter Square vinyl. And watch this. Watch this Crafter Square vinyl. I hear a lot of creators saying they don't like this vinyl. I have no problems with this. Look how smooth that went out. And I didn't edit that at all. That's just sped up. And it's great. So we had to get Canva to Cricut. So this was the goal, and it's fantastic. I will never weld or do another creation on Cricut. I'm only going to create on Canva and then transfer it over. Because what we ended up having to do was to save each line as a photo, as a PNG file. And then when I went to Cricut, so that I have 6 files. When I went to Cricut, I uploaded, when I was on the canvas on a new project, I uploaded, it's down the lower left-hand corner if you have Cricut Design Space. And I just uploaded the picture, which I had saved, or Hope had saved, as a transparent background. We have the Canva that with the paid subscription, so it will do that for us. Canva is amazing. And then it just uploads perfectly. You just upload it and put it straight onto your new project and size it and print and cut. I love it. Actually, just cut. I use the cut version, not the print and cut. And so here I go. I've got my transfer tape. I got this on Amazon. I'll link that below. It's almost like a big roll of masking tape. It's great. It's sticky, but not so sticky it's hard to deal with. Now I'm putting it on mirror, so that's going to be super easy to deal with. But even on a painted surface, it's not going to pull up your paint if your paint's good and dry. Okay, so I'm just going to press it in there and then pull it back. Easy peasy. I love this Crafter Square vinyl. It gives me no problems. I love it. All right, so I'm going to show you here. I'm opening a new project. And down in the left-hand corner is the word upload. And so you click upload. You browse your computer. And then saved into my pictures. We save that from Canva, the download from Canva. And I'm going to choose it. And I'm going to do the most detailed cut. And then I'm going to save it or upload it. Now you have 2 choices. You have a cut file or you have a print then cut. I'm choosing the cut file because I'm not printing and cutting, I'm just cutting. And then you choose it. There it goes. It's in Design Space now, and now it's on my canvas. Love it. All right, so I wanted it to be 13 inches, but I actually made it 14 inches because I made the hope and the line above 13 inches. So I go ahead and make this one 14. So I get it onto my canvas, and then I hit make it. Fantastic. And I did save these in case we want to make some more. I'm sure she wants things to all kind of be the same. So I probably will be using this again, and I can just do some editing, stretch it out for that big mirror if I need to. It's great. It's already on my Design Space, saved in my wedding folder. Love it. All right, so I'm just weeding it right here on the mat. Since this is such a swirly, thin font, I hesitated to pull it up off that mat. Thought maybe it might, come up. Sometimes it can be a little feisty, no matter what vinyl you use. Even the best vinyl is gonna peel up if it's too sticky and too fiddly, swirly. So you're gonna see. I tried to pull up the paper here, and I just decided no, I'm just gonna pull it off. Oh goodness, that swirly pattern was scaring me. I didn't want it to come off that transfer tape. Sometimes it can be a little fiddly, but it just came straight off, and I'm ready. Okay, so I have them flipped upside down on the mirror now, and I'm starting to lay it down. I am measuring it out. I'm actually working off the bevel. This mirror has a beveled edge, so I'm putting the bottom just right above the bevel, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the top one on. The Welcome To is going on next. And then I come back. There, I'm just taking off the transfer tape. And Hope is floating around here. We have a friend over. I was doing a little bit of alterations for one of my friend's daughters. She's in a wedding, and so she was picking her dress up. I fixed the little straps for her, and she was just chatting. Hope's over there chatting away with Allison and watching me put this down. And it was better that she was distracted because I didn't want her hovering over me. You're going to see once Allison leaves, she starts hovering. But I just took my chance and started putting this on. And so there we go. There's for thank you for celebrating with us. And then I've already put the Welcome To on. And then I went ahead and put our wedding. And then I did the hope and then the ampersand. So here comes Chandler, and Allison's already gone now. So Hope's starting to help. And I'm thankful for her help. She's a big help. She's done so much for this wedding. We're working on invitations right now, and they're really coming along. We're almost ready to send them out, which is very exciting. My goodness. And so here's Chandler's name. I'm sure I'm going to be putting this on lots of mirrors and frames. There she is. Very exciting. Look how pretty. She said, Mom, I'm taking this one home. She said, I want to keep this one at home. I said, all right, let me take a film. I said, let me videotape it, and then you can take it with you. So much fun. I just love the way this turned out. Thank you for joining me here on St. Simon's. Thank you to Trish and Kay from the Crafting Cousins and Sammie from Unicorn Dust Designs for hosting this fun challenge every other month. I just love to craft for summer. This special time in the Lamb home and getting ready for our daughter's wedding. So much fun. Getting ready for showers and all the different things that we're checking off the list. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. If you enjoy these kind of thrift flip videos, I love to go thrifting, and I love to flip them for my design. I love the way that filigree turned out. Looks so pretty. And I can paint over this main squeeze, and we can put something else on it and flip it again. Awesome. And there's that pretty rub and buff. Just makes that look so gorgeous. It was already pretty, but we just made it match our particular design. of summer. James 1:17 says, every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. So from the Blue House on the corner, enjoying the sweet days of summer. God bless. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.